What's going on, YouTube? How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing great as usual. Thank you again, guys, so much for all your support. I want to apologize for not getting back to you guys. Man, I really wish, but I got to tell you guys, man, work for like the last like 5, 6 months has been extremely stressful. I don't want to beat around the bush on that one. And I would want nothing more than to really hang out with you guys and do this for a living. Like that's my ultimate dream. And it's hard, because work takes up a lot of my time and kind of wish that, I could spend more of that time with the ones I love and doing what I love as well. So, just remember, guys, everyone out there, if you feel the same way, just remember that really, care about your job as much as they care about you, because at the end of the day, you know, your family and everything is the most important. The ones who love you, the ones who support you, are the ones that are more important than anything else in the world. So, we all got to support each other. All right. But anyways, guys, I want to talk about. I'm not going to be long, but there's a few things that I do want to talk about regarding the LG G4 and the Samsung S90D. As you guys know, I am a current owner of these TVs. I am a consumer. I am not a professional. I do videos for the past few years about my personal experience with these TVs, how they operate, things I notice as an owner, and I keep these TVs. And then, I'll keep them for about a year or so, sometimes even more, just because I love them that much. And I just talk about them and I talk about my experience and try to help anybody who is considering these TVs. And as you guys know, whoever's been following me, I've been doing this for about 3 years, going on 4 years. I'm more of a premium TV buyer. So I want my experience to be as best as it possibly can, because again, I work hard, and when I go home, I really want a good experience. I want to, and TVs fascinate me. TV technology fascinates me. The whole experience has, since I was a kid watching a movie, feeling like you're there, just excites me. The emotions, and the better the picture quality, the better the sound, makes you. I just feel like just helps amplify those emotions. And I truly believe that, because I had TVs that were very mediocre and cheap, and I didn't really care about it, because all I cared about was the price. And then once you get to a certain level, you really do start to notice a difference. You are just completely awed with these TVs, and it's hard to go backwards. So, but yeah, so here's some of the few things that I do want to talk about. And I know we're really talking in reference to the 2024 models, but I feel like these issues will carry over to 2025, but I hope they do not. Um, and here's my concern. I'm going to start with the Samsung S90D. I'll just hit the menu button so you know. Um, that I'm not kind of, BSing you. But as you can see, that is the menu for the S90D. And then I'm just going to hit the menu button here. Or I don't even know. Sorry, that's not the menu button. But as you can see, this is the LG G4. Now, here's the one thing that bothers me probably the most with the Samsung S90D. Now, you guys know how much I love this TV. You guys know I used to have the A95L, two of them. I got rid of them both because I like the S90D and the LG G4 better. Samsung S90D, I shouldn't just, but anyway, so I like these two TVs better. And I don't even want to get into that because that's a long story. But anyways, that's the short end of that. Now, but they're not perfect, guys. Like, they're really not. They are, in my personal opinion, like some of the best TVs I've ever seen in my life. But that's because in the premium space, once you have these TVs for a few years in a row, and you actually see the progress with your own eyes at home and how they gotten better, you start to notice the little things that a lot of people won't notice unless you have these TVs at home, and unless you have them side by side, and unless you're kind of really nitpicking here and splitting hairs. So just to let you guys know in advance, these are very small things that a lot of people won't notice. But I just want to share that experience with you because if it's important to you, you're considering the, last year's TV models because the prices are lower. These are simply things that are like clear and you can't. They're unfixable. It's the processing. So, but maybe fixable with some software updates. But I've noticed with a software update, there's always a sacrifice here because they're fixing one thing and then there sacrifices another, and it's just like just stop. But anyways, so with the Samsung, here's the biggest thing that I noticed. As you guys can see, I am using Jennifer Gala's HDR Super Channel, one of her demos in the HDR Super Channel. Now, what I like about her content is that it really does push these TVs to the test, nit wise, color wise, motion wise. And the primary thing I want to talk about right now that bothers me the most with the Samsung S90D is the motion. Now, for the most part, I don't think people are going to notice this, but I can tell you guys with 100% confidence, the S90D has like this frame skipping thing in slow panning motion that is very, very noticeable. And it is one of those things that it's very small where like if you're really not paying attention, you're not going to notice. But if you're paying attention, you can't get it out of your head. It like aggravates you. And then you notice it from now on. So it's one of those things. It's like you have to catch it to have it bother you. And it will really when you catch it, it definitely bothers. And it's just like annoying. So like I notice in like slow panning motion, and it's not all, it's actually mostly not when it's vertical, but horizontal panning. I noticed when it's panning horizontally, it's got this like frame skip that just sometimes looks glitchy. Like sometimes can get so extreme that it actually looks like glitching. Like I don't know if you've ever played Call of Duty before, or and all of a sudden there's like a really quick glitch and you're like, what the heck was that? Like it screwed you all up, like it screwed your vision all up. Felt like it kind of like made you a little bit unbalanced in the game. It's kind of, even though it's not as extreme as that, it's noticeable like that. It's hard to explain. It is more subtle and it is a quicker, but it looks like a very subtle version of like that glitching in a Call of Duty or a first-person shooter game. When the game is lagging, and you notice that it's a very, very small version of that, but enough to really bother you. So I just want to let you guys know and I'm going to have to believe because the processor is the same in the S95D that's going to be the same. I could be wrong, completely wrong. But I don't see how like the same processor in one TV is going to be better than the same processor in another TV. Unless I'm mistaken, maybe, I don't know if they tune the processor differently or whatever because the two TVs are different. I have no clue. But what I notice is the motion, the frame skipping in the motion, especially in slow panning motion, horizontal. I don't notice it as much vertical, but it is there vertical too. I promise you guys that is definitely something that is noticeable. And I noticed not only when I'm streaming, so like I was thinking in my head, I was like, well, I am streaming a demo. Is it maybe the demo? Maybe the Wi-Fi connection isn't as good on the Samsung than it is on the LG. So what I did was I put on a physical disc. I put on Avatar. And Avatar has a lot of CGI, has a lot of processing within the movie itself, within the metadata itself. So I thought that would be a good movie to test it. And it's noticeable in a physical disc 4K HDR DVD as well. And I know that this was covered on lower bitrate content, but I feel like in HDR it gets the motion gets praised, which is good. It's not bad. But when you compare the motion to the LG G4, the LG G4 is much better. It's much smoother. You don't get frame skipping. And even if you do or were to get some kind of frame skipping going on there, with the LG G4, I can one thing I certainly can assure you guys is that even if you do, it's way less noticeable. It's almost unnoticeable. Like you really have to sit there, squint your eyes, and kind of look for it. And even then, it's like if you see it, you're like, I don't really know if that was really motion frame skipping or anything like that. It doesn't look like it, but that's how good that processing is for motion on the LG. Top notch, in my personal opinion, especially when motion is harder to handle in an OLED versus mini LED because of that instant refresh rate going on there. So it is harder to manage that on an OLED. But again, guys, I feel like that part is kind of like one of those things that kind of bother me the most for the Samsung. Now, the LG G4 has some other things that I kind of have certain issues with personally. And the number one thing, which I know we have all spoken about, but not to like this extent, is the color. So we all know it's a W OLED. It can't get as colorful as a QD OLED. But here's the thing that people don't notice is when you put up, let's say you turn the color up on the LG to get more color, you have to be super careful with that because even if you have the the LG G4 on warm 50, for some reason when you turn that color up, I don't know what's going on in the background behind there, but it can throw your overall color off a little bit. Like, let's just say you want to turn the color up because you don't like the way red looks. It doesn't look pure red. It looks like a orange, or it doesn't look like a red that you want to notice. What happens is if you just go straight to color without correcting your white balance and without correcting your RGB levels and things like that, you're going to throw off the entire TV. So there is a certain level that you have to respect there. And another thing is it can crush out some really important details, especially if you're an RPG gamer, that you don't want to miss because it will bring out the experience better. So those kind of things I do notice are harder to control in the LG than the Samsung S90D. Like the Samsung S90D, I feel like has the perfect level of like black levels where you can still see shadow details, and I feel like LG just kind of crushes them out a little bit more unless you fix the black levels. And then let's say you fix the black levels and then you start to put the color up, it kind of throws the overall picture. So you have to, do more fine tuning in order to like avoid that. And then even then, you'll go back and you'll be like, oh my God, I gotta do it over again because it didn't like come out the way I thought it was gonna come out. Or, it's just more work with the LG. But I do feel like the LG still has the overall better picture quality, especially with the motion, but it just takes more work to get there. The S90D is again my overall kind of like favorite TV for like a set it and forget it. You can just hit a couple simple buttons, turn the color up, like color booster. The settings are easier to understand for most people. Like if you just sat down with a person who doesn't really care or, utilize or care about settings as much for customizing picture, I feel like that Samsung is just kind of like easier to use, easier to understand, but they also give you less customization options or within like the settings. So like you can control like the black levels better in an LG. It's more fine tunable. But again, sometimes I like simple, and that's why I like the Samsung S90D, because you can just go right to the TV, just press a button and you get what you get, and that's it. You know what I mean? You just figure it out from there. Obviously, you can calibrate the TVs and stuff, but I don't really know that many people personally who go out and calibrate TVs. It's a very select few or a very small percentage, and then you can get your TV just right. And I do think nowadays that TVs are getting so competitive that when you put it in cinema mode or professional or its most accurate mode, you're going to be like 0.05, 0.07% away from that anyways. And then you can fine tune it from there. The only thing I don't like is it automatically dims the TV. So that's why I kind of stay away from those. I'm not really into the accurate modes that much when I'm watching movies. I kind of, especially like high graded CGI movies, I really want more pop and 3D effect and more. It just looks more personable. Like it looks like it's more in your face. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking for. So, personally, and I know there's a lot of accuracy and purists out there that will beg to differ. But that's fine. I mean, that's why these TVs are designed to give you options, and that's why you pay the money that you pay. It's for your own personal preference, for your own personal experience at your house. It's your money that you spent. So there's really no wrong way to set a TV, especially when you're home. There might be a reference way, and the reference way could be, considered the correct way. But when there's a correct way to your personal experience and what you're looking for, there's really none. So everyone's different in that perspective. But yeah, that's pretty much what I really want. So I'm hoping that in 2025, I just hope that because the competition gets so thin at this level that those are the things that I hope they really personally improve on. Because if they improve on those things, and you can still, like for the S90D, if you can get a really good processing TV at that lower price point, that will be a game changer, and it will have other brands looking, turning around in the mirror and looking at themselves, basically. You know what I mean? And maybe just start over and figure out how they're going to really be more competitive, because the problem is now is premium TVs are getting more and more competitive, and you're starting to see really high quality TVs at a less of a premium, and they're still good quality. So meaning the fit and finish is good. The actual materials they use for the most part are good. Yeah, they might cheapen out on a stand here or there, but those are things that you don't really care about. It's really picture quality and sound quality, reliability. Those things really matter the most for most of us. And I think the competition's getting better in that aspect, hopefully. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. So I'm hoping that those things do change with the LG G4 or with the LG G5 from the LG G4. And I'm also hoping that, those things like the motion and stuff, I hope those things improve with Samsung, because again, guys, those things may not matter to most people, but they're noticeable. And I do feel like it's a little cheap when motion is that slow or is that off. It's not really the best experience, but overall, like most people won't notice it. So does Samsung really care to fix that? Probably not. But again, guys, that's just my personal opinion. I hope that was helpful for you guys. And if you have any questions or anything, please put them in the comments. I promise, guys, I will try to get back to you as best as I can. I hope that this video you found somewhat helpful, but kind of just blabbing here. But anyways, guys, I love you as always, and stay safe out there. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you.